Hello. Well, that's never happened before. That has never happened before. Let's see if anybody jumps on. We will see. Here we are. That's never actually happened to me. I thought I would just jump back on for another 15 minutes. Um, Dude, all 6 years of me doing 7 years of doing YouTube lives, that has never happened. That was crazy. There's literally no reason for that, except a little wink from God. We're not in control. I'll tell you one thing about my life. Literally, I only teach about what I experience. Thank God. I only teach about what I experience. How could I possibly teach about anything else, right? I mean, I do teach about knowingnesses that I have, but like, if these things didn't happen to me in my life, I couldn't possibly. Oh, I was thinking about this last night in the shower. I was thinking about how can people teach about things that they don't actually practice in their everyday life, right? Like, if you were to hang around me in my everyday life, you would see that I live the way I teach. I really live this way for most of my days. I live the way I teach. Um And so, we're talking about not being in control, blah, blah, blah. And then, I have a fabulous internet. I mean, I'm being inundated by 5G. I'm being poisoned by 5G in my house. So I have very good internet. Um, and for God to give this wink of like, oh yeah, watch this. Dink, you know, we're just gonna do a little glitch. Um, we get used to it. Like, "Oh, okay. Everything's perfect. There are no mistakes." Again, it's how you respond. It's not what's happening, right? So, "Oh, that shouldn't have happened." Well, it did. That should happen. Well, it didn't. Um, this is a tiny, 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 small microcosm of massive things that happen in your life, but it's exactly the same thing. Whatever's happening is exactly what's supposed to happen. What's more important is how you are responding to it. Like, that is such a profound gift for us to recognize, and we push it aside like it's not one of the most brilliant awarenesses to have. It is if humanity were to just practice that everything's exactly the way it should be. Everything is arising exactly how it should be. It's impossible for it to be not perfectly imperfect the way it's arising, the whatever's showing up. It's about how I'm going to choose to be in it, respond. It's everything, you know? Um, God, I look forward to the day where humanity is no longer trying to fix themselves or fix what's arising. So, for instance, even let's just say like, there's these really intense, massive floods in Texas right now. Forgot what town. And of course, we're gonna say this shouldn't have happened. We're gonna say that, or the wars that are happening. There shouldn't be wars. Now, of course, we're gonna say that because we have a preference. All right. So there's always preferences, desires, opinions. That's the duality of humanity. There is going to be a preference around things. There's nothing wrong with preference. So it's all semantics. Oh, we shouldn't be in war. Obviously, we shouldn't be in war. Okay. But war is what's arising. War is what is here. Of course, there shouldn't be floods in Texas. It's horrible. We would prefer there not to be floods, right? But floods are what's arising. So then it becomes, how am I choosing to respond? Am I praying for these people? Am I finding organizations where I can donate? Am I arguing about it? Am I am I angry about it? Am I in fear about it? Like, what is my internal experience around it? Um, with the awareness of, I have a preference, I have opinions, I have ways that I would like it to go or not like it to go. The more that we can watch that happen, the more you're going to start trusting that flow. So it's not about, oh, you're not supposed to have opinions, or of course things should or shouldn't be here. But you're arguing with what is. So it's the balancing act of the understanding of what this is all about, which is that it's always in motion. You're literally not in control of it, but you are in control, but you have the opinions and the feelings and the emotions. Um, and your job is to figure out how to be in it, how to respond in it. How are you going to respond in? What lens are you going to use? And then having the humility and the compassion, the massive, massive compassion for being in the human experience, having the emotions, having the different thoughts, having the different behaviors. Um, the humility and the compassion around that. One of the greatest stories of Jesus that I absolutely love is the day before he was getting um, crucified, and he was at the Garden of Gethsemane. I don't know the name of it. The garden, and he's crying and he's praying to God, you know, and he's sweating blood. So even though he understands that he's the son of God, even though he understands that this is exactly what's supposed to happen, he walks right. I mean, he knew this is what was going to happen, right? For years. So it wasn't a surprise. Um, and he knew that that was his outcome, what he came to do. But even in that absolute knowingness, and absolute trust in God, he still questioned it. He still asked God basically why. He still had such fear that he was sweating blood. So when I think about that moment, that story, okay, and the reason I bring that story up, because this man did miracles. This man couldn't have been more connected to soul and God than anyone that we know, right? And still, he was human. So here we are, you and I, walking around way more disconnected to soul and God than Jesus was. And we're getting upset with ourselves because we're having a difficult time navigating this human experience. Like, it's like, give ourselves a break. It's like, this is no easy feat to be in this, right? And to experience these things and to want to control and to want to get out of it and to want to fix it. But there is a higher plan that's playing out for all of us. Again, coming back to what I was saying in the very beginning of Untangled, this I don't know if I'll save this, but maybe I will. This is part 2. But coming back to like the very beginning of what I was saying around the soul, your soul has a plan here. You know, If Jesus were to have said, "You know what? I'm too afraid. I'm not gonna let God's plan play out for me." The whole trajectory of his whole purpose, the whole reason for coming down on the planet would have been diverted. The potential of his the purpose would have been diverted because he was afraid, because he didn't trust God, because the human the power of just being in the human experience got him. But his faith was so strong. His faith was so strong that he trusted God. He trusted what was unraveling. And that's what we have to have right now on this planet. That no matter how dark it looks, no matter how destructive it looks, no matter how dark it gets out there, no matter how many doom and gloom videos you freaking watch, no matter how many shock and awe videos you watch of like, oh, this is coming and oh, be careful of that, whatever the heck people are saying, there is refocus your lens to just think about that story with Jesus and how that crucifixion had to happen. That was the highest outcome. And the profound power and domino effect of that one choice that Jesus made. And it was a choice. And actually, he had multiple times to say, forget it, I'm not the Son of God, multiple times to pull back. In fact, after he had been flogged and tortured for hours upon hours, Pontius Pilate even asked him when he was standing there next to the murderer. Pontius Pilate said, "Do you believe that you are the Son of God?" And all Jesus had to say was no. No. And they would have let him go. But he didn't. And he knew that there was something bigger, God, doing this. There's a bigger purpose. There's a bigger purpose for all of this. There's a bigger purpose for everything that is unraveling right now in your life and on this planet. And we aren't going to know what that outcome is, but we really want to know. So we want to control it all. But the greatest gift that we can give ourselves and we can give others and we can give this planet is recognizing that we do not know what's next. We do not know the outcome. But we know that if we hold the awareness of soul in body connected to this higher power of God, this energetic holy cow of God, this overarching light of God, that there are no mistakes, no mishaps, no missteps, no mess ups. Everything is perfectly imperfect in your life. And all you're being asked to do is to remember that you and God agreed to be dropped down into that river. You agreed to remember that you are on a floaty device going down the river. And that your job is not to try to figure out where you're going and what it's going to look like and how to do it. Your job is to have that absolute faith that God has you. And the reason it can be so difficult to believe that God had to believe that you're God first, right? If we go to like I'm God first, is that you're still going to try to control it. What happens when you say something bigger than me has me as I'm going down this river and I'm an aspect of it, but I'm so stuck in the human condition that I'm going to still try to control everything. So let me start handing it over to God. Let me trust. I mean, really, before I go, just you don't have to believe in all the different things about Jesus and all of the religious stuff, but just think about this moment in his life. He had done all these miracles. He had he knew he was the son of God. I mean, he just knew who he was. He knew what he was doing. He knew he would be crucified, horribly crucified. And he still had to experience the third dimensional human emotions around that. He didn't vibrate out of it. He didn't meditate. He didn't sit in the Garden of Gethsemane and, or whatever the word is. I always fuck it up and try to meditate out of the pain. He didn't try to high vibe himself out of what he was feeling, the fear, the anger, whatever it was, the sadness. He felt it because he knew it wasn't him. It was the experience. I think that's a profound awareness to hold. Really, profound awareness. There isn't some state we get to where we don't feel the human emotions. There just isn't because you're in a quantum field. You're in everything. And the idea of anybody saying you're not going to feel certain emotions when you become enlightened isn't doesn't understand what this is all about. What happens is you just start realizing that you're none of what you're experiencing, but you're still going to experience it. But you're being held in the arms of God, and that God has a much bigger plan than you have. And God, your soul would never say, oh, don't feel these emotions, only feel these emotions. That makes no sense when you're in a very dense physical reality. And there is no vibrating your body out of these emotions right now. Because if you do that or you try to do that, you are trying to get out of what just is. Because you would think that Jesus would have sat and meditated him into some sort of state where he would have been at peace with what was happening. He prayed, but he asked, why? Basically, God, stop this. Even though he knew, welcome to the human experience. This is what it's all about, being in it. And then knowing that God has a greater hand in all of this. I love you guys. Love you. I love you. I love you. Thank you for jumping back on. This is part 2. I will put this up as well. I hope you have a beautiful day. I hope some of this landed for you. If you missed the first part of our Untangle, we got cut off because that's just what happens. Life just happens. God's like, I'm going to give you guys an example of a very simple, easy, non harmful example of random things that occur that you have no control over. Anywho, I love you guys very much. Take a listen to the first part 1, and I will see you next Tuesday for episode 130. And I've got a class coming out next week that I'm really excited to talk about. I'm launching a class next Monday, so you'll hear all about it next week. I love you. Stay open, stay gentle, float down that river. Lots of love.